hosted us last night. And I would be remiss if I don't mention my bestie, Ms. Betsy Muthoni Njagi, Principal Secretary for Blue Economy and Fisheries. So there are some things that I have to say, but I want to talk about what I experienced yesterday. The first thing in the morning, very distinguished, Dr. Christina Hicks and I started our day by gathering with community women. We were with Amina Kamora from Sanye community, Mama Mikoko, who's done incredible work with mangrove restoration and conservation, to the extent that I did suggest perhaps that they should be called mama groves and not mangroves. But I don't think the translation with that worked, or maybe even here. Anyway, we also spoke with Rabia Hawa, founder of Ulinzi, and then got to travel to Jomvu Ku and with the BMU and Women with Fishing. Now I mention all of this because it's funny when I come to one of these things, you know, I'm here, and by the way, thank you Oceana for having me, for bringing me here. And I think Secretary Kerry is like, I'm out, but happy birthday to him, wherever he was, is now. So I mention all of these women because, you know, when we come here, they say things like, okay, here's some suggested questions, but really you don't have to ask any question. You just say, tell me, and before you even finish the sentence, they're talking, because these women have done so much, they have so much to say, and are very clear about what's working, what's not working, what they've done, who's helped them, and what they need moving forward. So it's beyond even wanting a seat at the table. It's like, get them a seat at the table and serve them a 6-course meal and make it fine dining, to continue the metaphor. They want to be heard and respected and supported. And it was very humbling and really incredible, the work that they were doing and have done and continue to do. But it was also very clear that they want to be heard, their voices, just like everybody else talking today. But unfortunately, the ocean has no voice, so it can't advocate for itself. So that's why we're here. The ocean depends entirely on the decisions that we make, and that means we still have a choice. A few years ago, world leaders came together around an extraordinary commitment to protect at least 30% of the ocean by 2030, but the deadline nears and we have fallen behind. Today, just 10% of the ocean is protected. Only about 3% is strongly protected. The gap between ambition and action remains significant. The ocean doesn't need more promises, it needs action, and lasting protection requires partnership. But Indigenous peoples, coastal communities, artisanal fishers, and local leaders must have, as I said, a meaningful seat at the table. We've seen time and again that conservation is at its strongest and most successful when local communities help lead. I personally experienced this in American politics, campaigning for Barack Obama, and seeing how grassroots and local communities change lives and change the outcome of events. I've seen it when we advocated for taking the eastern seaboard of the US off the page for drilling and for seismic testing, and we got that done with local community leaders from all sides of politics coming together, businesses, military, restaurateurs, private homeowners, and going to DC and talking to everybody and saying what they need. I don't want to keep saying the things that everybody else said, but I will say that in addition to the things I just mentioned, that we have seen success like this in other places like the Philippines and Chile, and we see it here in Kenya. It's incredible, and where the government and coastal communities have worked to protect important coral habitats while supporting the people who depend on them the most. These successes remind us of something important. A thriving, abundant ocean and healthy coastal communities are within reach. But delivering 30 by 30 will require action on a much, much larger scale. The High Seas Treaty gives us an unprecedented opportunity to protect areas of ocean beyond national borders. Now we must follow through. That is the macro message of every person I've spoken to yesterday, women and men who spoke so eloquently, as I said. We just need follow through. No commitments alone will not protect the ocean. Action will, and sustained continued action. That's why we need the youth, we need elders, we need businesses, we need communities to gather, and we need all of the support from everyone that is here representing the different organizations and governments. The ocean has always been with us, there for us, as Secretary Kerry said. It has fed us, protected us, connected us, and inspired us. Now it is our turn to be there for the ocean. Not tomorrow, not someday, now. Because protecting at least 30% of the ocean by 2030 is simply, it's not an environmental goal. It is an investment in people, it's an investment in communities, it's an investment in climate resilience, and it is an investment in the future we all share. Asante. Thank you. That's it. Short and sweet. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Kate. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Western Indian Ocean Marine Science Association, also known as WIOMSA, has played a critical role in promoting the educational, scientific, and technological development of all aspects of marine sciences in the Western Indian Ocean region. WIOMSA has been implementing various programs since its inception in 1993, and some of the programs that have been fundamental have been able to address global goals and targets with a particular emphasis on the intersection of SDG 14 and SDG 1, as well as the Global Biodiversity Framework. Ladies and gentlemen, I now want to invite our moderator for this session. He is the Executive Secretary, WIOMSA Kenya, Dr. Arthur Tuda. Welcome, sir.
Thanks, Nimrod. Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I want to welcome you all to this panel discussion on pathways to achieving 30 by 30 and protecting the high seas. And to help us do that, I want to bring to you and invite our panelists to join us on stage. We have great people who are champions of the ocean. They're going to tell us a little bit more about 30 by 30 and protecting our high seas. And as I call upon your name, I would request you, with respect, to come and take your seat. I'll begin by inviting Ambassador Olivier Davor, I hope I pronounce it right, the Ambassador and Special Envoy of the French President for Oceans. Let's give him a round of applause as he comes aboard. Next, we'll have Honorable Marwa Mysori, Vice Chair of the Committee in charge of Fisheries, Kenya National Assembly. Welcome. We have Honorable Minister Abubakar Ben Mahmoud, Minister of Environment and Tourism, Government of Comoros. Will be followed by Jochen Flasbath, State Secretary for the Environment, Climate Action, Nature Conservation, and Nuclear Safety, the Government of Germany. Last but not least, Rebecca Hubert, Executive Director of the High Seas. Please join me in giving them a round of applause as they take their seats. Thank you and welcome to our discussion. As we start this session, I want to start with a number. For those who've been here for other side events that have been talking about 30 by 30, we've been throwing some numbers around. And today's number is 1,600. 1,600. That's around about the number of days left to 2030. So, you know, when you talk about 2030, we think that it's distant, way ahead, but we have less than 1,600 days to make our commitments a reality. So this number is important to us because within this period, we have to realize and achieve all the ambitions and commitments that we, as countries and as ocean lovers, have committed to. That is why in this session, Pathways, Achieving 30 by 30 and Protecting the High Seas could not be more timely. And our great panelists here are going to help us break it down for us. And each panelist is going to come forward and make a short submission. And if time allows, we will then follow up with a round of questions. So without taking much time, I would like to welcome up front Ambassador Olivier to come and set the stage for us. Welcome.
Hello to all of you, Jumbo, and it's a great pleasure for me to be with you today in Mombasa. Let's try to avoid the blue, and speak in a very concrete way. A great deal has been said since the start of this really excellent conference. As the personal representative of the French President, Mr. Emmanuel Macron, I would like briefly to outline the agenda of our country as the holder of the world's second largest exclusive economic zone, and also as a leading advocate for this new diplomacy for all of us, diplomacy of equilibrium, which we call the blue diplomacy. Our first principle, I think you all share, not all countries, there are some exceptions, but you all share this idea that our first principle, speaking about MPAs, BBNG, is that before we can claim rights over the ocean, which is the common heritage of the mankind, our nations must first recognize their duties. We have duties for the ocean. This begins with a steadfast respect for the international law. Current events provide a stark reminder of this, particularly regarding the freedom of passage in international waters for all. I am, of course, referring to the Strait of Hormuz. Since 1882, international law through the Montego Bay Convention on the Law of the Sea defines a clear exclusive economic zone, but also it establishes what is a unique framework for the exploration of the deep sea bed, the International Seabed Authority based in Kingston. Any attempt to exploit this zone outside the organization and in the absence of a mining code stands in direct contravention of international law. Oceanic multilateralism is in fact thriving. It is the good news. We all have made significant strides in recent years, notably with the Kunming-Montreal Agreement and the goal to protect 30% of our oceans by 2030. And we will do it. We will do it, although we still have a long way to go in terms of surface area and level of protection, but the momentum is now irreversible. I'm also heartened by the commitment of so many political leaders. Some of them are here, but exactly 1 year ago, 67 heads of states and governments gathered in Nice for the third UN Ocean Conference, co-hosted by France and Costa Rica, a great maritime country, with 160 countries represented at a high level. As the saying goes, history is made by those who show up, and you show up. But some countries were not there. Not so many, but some. In Nice, among other major commitments, we achieved this remarkable feat of securing the ratification of BBNG agreement on the high seas in record time, only 2 years. after the adoption in New York. This agreement, which entered in force recently in January, allows us to look forward for the first ever COP, the first COP. We have, I think now, 31 COP climate, but the first ever COP ocean will take place, as you know, in January 2027 at the UN headquarters in New York. And today, 91 countries have already ratified the BBNG, and symbolically, this will also be the first major conference opened by the new General Secretary of the United Nations. What a powerful symbol that it will be. Few believe the high seas could be protected and governed in this way, and yes, we did it. And yes, you have done it, the high seas. I would like to pay a special tribute to these wonderful NGOs. Without ratification, they will be unable to participate in this decisive course. So I would, of course, urge those countries that have not yet done so to ratify the BBNG before the end of the year or before the 10th of December, so you will be around the table with us. And finally, France called also for a high-level segment during this COP. You know, we will make also the critical choice of the Secretariat that will host it, the COP. We also want us to tell you that it's important to join this group of 41 countries at the Seabed International Authority in Kingston, those member states advocating for precautionary pause for the deep sea mining. We need time and we need science to fully understand the impact of such activities on marine ecosystem. We also need a mining code that clearly guarantees the equitable sharing of any benefits from exploited resource, something that is not currently the case. I shall conclude by congratulating Kenya, another champion of blue diplomacy. You are a champion. You have organized 4 years ago the second UN Ocean Conference with Portugal, and this, our ocean, the first one ever organized in Africa, is an example. This conference and your commitment, Kenya, demonstrates that Africa is now a major player in oceanic multilateralism, a major player. On November 26, at the Blue Africa Summit in Tangier, held at the initiative of the Kingdom of Morocco and the Saison Bleue, the Africa Blue Compass, ABC, will be unveiled. This compass and roadmap, the result of 2 years of work by 300 experts, will set Africa's ambition for governance, ocean literacy, and a sustainable blue economy. Africa Forward. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Ambassador, for those remarks. And you've talked about the BBNJ and the ratification, issues of seabed mining, and Africa as a champion for oceans, and no other time to hear about Africa as a champion rather than from Honorable Marwa, who will come on stage and give us his remarks. Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you very much, and welcome to Kenya. As you've heard, my name is Marwa Kitayama Maisori, Member of Parliament, Kuria East constituency in the Kenyan Parliament. Parliaments all over the world have made all this that we have gathered here today to happen, because they do all that they need to do to represent their people. They legislate, assert treaties, and oversight on following up on everything that has been discussed with international communities and also the local leaderships. They recently, in Kenya now, we also do budgets, which also supports what I'm about to talk about. Kenya's commitment to the pathways to achieve 30 by 30. We have already backed on the first one, which is governance, by passing first of all, we signed, and then we've already passed the laws that we've ratified. The 30 by 30 pathway, the BBNJ. We also do support by budgetary allocations, science and technology. In fact, Kenya is quite a leader in science and technology, especially in the marine space. Kemfree has been doing a very, very good job with a lot of research and that as we speak. There's a Norwegian ship that has just docked at the waters, and it has high-level technology that we intend as a country to also leverage on, and then we'll be able to maybe look into how we put in even more money so that we are able to, as a country and as a region, because these equipments take a lot of money to purchase, so that we are able to be part of the solutions that go into science and coupled with traditional knowledge. Kate put it very well. She said that many of our women really know, locals know what to do. What they need is good science, data. What they need is finances so that they can be able to afford this equipment. And then also what they need is reliable partnerships that they can always rely on, that they will be there. Capacity building, which has always happened, and this is important because those that know, if they do not pass it on, then it is useless and it cannot help in the sustainability of the oceans. Equitable sharing of benefits must be predictable. It cannot be that it is just there in paper encouraging high-level nations, but then the local communities do not see the value of equitable benefits that come with the 30 by 30 commitments. Also, monitoring and compliance. We have a big high seas environment and ecosystem that clearly is a serious environment for crime and all those things that happen out there. In fact, as now is going on, bad manners in the high seas affect social and economic livelihoods of especially poor people and poor nations. So it is important that all this is practically put, like our president did say earlier on, it is now time to actually act and not just to have a lot of words which do not go beyond the conferences. And we do have neighbors. Maybe some of them haven't ratified these treaties. Therefore, it becomes very difficult if the environment that we are operating in does not, agree with those that already are in and those that already that has yet to come in. Kenya has done quite a bit in the space of marine protection, as I said much earlier. We have continuously done research. There is now a lot of carbon credit support going on. The Kenyan government, through the National Assembly, has appropriated quite a bit of money, and we are increasingly doing that, conscious that it is in this support that we are going to invest, and as earlier said, hand over an investment to our grandchildren that we have cautiously taken steps to do now. So the call for action, as I conclude, it's about governance and being true to governance. It's governance being true to governance. Also, sustainable financing, it must be predictable. It must, the local communities, especially in Kenya, the PMUs, they shouldn't wait in an uncertain way that help is coming, or that there'll be enough money to support the programs that have been laid before them. It will be important that as we plan, all our support systems, the financial partners, and all other people who bring forth support, it is predictable as it is predictable in benefit sharing. Because if that is ascertained, then everybody gets buy-in. everybody feels included, and in that manner, then the blue ocean is going to be what exactly is the theme today of this conference. Our ocean, all right? Our home, all right? And our future. Thank you very much, and you're welcome to Kenya. Thank you.
Asante sana. Thank you, Honorable Marwa. You've spoken well about governance as an important component of sustainable ocean management. You've talked about predictable financing and also the need for countries to ratify the BBNJ and High Seas Treaty so that we are able to collaborate and partner better as countries. And now we want to hear from a beautiful island of Comoros and how they've been able to make progress in some of these areas that Honorable Mara talked about. But to do that, I would like to welcome on stage Honorable Abubakar Ben Mahmoud, the Minister of Environment and Tourism. Please welcome and give us your remarks. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. Excellences, Mesdames et Messieurs, distingués invités, je vous remercie de nous donner l'occasion de partager l'expérience concrète de l'Union des Comores en matière de protection de la biodiversité, une expérience qui, je crois, illustre les progrès, mais également les défis persistants qui demeurent pour atteindre l'objectif ambitieux 30 x 30 inscrit dans le cadre mondial de la biodiversité. Ce que nous avons accompli grâce à une volonté politique constante et à une mobilisation des communautés. Mesdames et Messieurs, Ministre de l'Environnement, je vous le dis tout simplement, les Comores tiendront leur engagement de l'objectif 30 x 30. Aujourd'hui, nous sommes à moins de 6%. En 2030, nous serons à 30%, Inch'Allah. Mesdames et Messieurs, protéger l'océan, l'objectif 30 x 30 est pour nous une assurance vie par rapport au dérèglement climatique que nous faisons face, mais également pour notre sécurité alimentaire. C'est un objectif très ambitieux, mais nous devons protéger les milliers de familles qui vivent de l'océan. C'est très important. Donc, on entend souvent des inquiétudes. On ne va pas interdire la pêche, bien sûr. Nous allons protéger 30% pour que les 70% soient beaucoup plus productifs. Le 26 novembre 2019, Son Excellence le Président Azali Assoumani, Président de l'Union des Comores, a signé un décret portant promulgation de la loi du Système national des aires protégées. C'est un texte fondateur qui nous a donné le cadre juridique nécessaire pour pouvoir avancer. Durant la même année, nous avons adopté la stratégie d'expansion de ce Système national des aires, aussi le cadre institutionnel du Fonds environnemental pour les aires protégées des Comores qui est mis en place et 5 nouveaux plans de gestion d'aménagement des parcs nationaux ont été validés par les communautés riveraines et ils sont conformes aux normes internationales de l'AUCN. En octobre 2020, à la suite d'un long processus impliquant le gouvernement, les autorités locales, la société civile et le secteur privé, ainsi que les partenaires au développement, le Conseil de l'UNESCO a officiellement décerné à l'île de Moélie le statut de réserve de biosphère, un label international qui favorise la recherche scientifique, la préservation de la biodiversité et l'attractivité pour des investissements écotouristiques et responsables. En mai 2022, nous avons mis en place par décret 5 nouveaux parcs nationaux qui viennent s'ajouter au parc national de Moélie créé en 2021. Concrètement, la superficie du territoire protégé aujourd'hui est de 50 500 hectares. Nous sommes un petit État insulaire en développement. C'est soit 27% du territoire terrestre des Comores. La superficie des eaux territoriales marines protégées s'élève quant à elle à 584 km², ce qui représente 5,8% des zones marines relevant de notre juridiction. Ces chiffres nous permettent de mesurer précisément le chemin qui nous reste à parcourir pour atteindre l'objectif 30 x 30. Donc sur le plan terrestre, avec 27% déjà protégés, il nous reste à protéger 3% supplémentaires. Sur le plan marin des eaux territoriales, avec 5,8% protégés, nous devons protéger 24,2%, ce qui représente environ 2440 km². Notre ambition ne s'arrête pas à nos eaux territoriales. Nous avons signé et ratifié, bien sûr, l'accord BBNJ Agreement. Cet objectif qui complète nos efforts internationaux et s'inscrit pleinement dans l'esprit du cadre mondial. Nous exhortons donc les pays qui n'ont pas encore ratifié d'entamer très vite cette procédure et le finaliser. Excellences, ces réalisations ne sont pas uniquement des succès nationaux, ce sont des preuves que lorsqu'il y a une volonté politique, un cadre juridique, des implications des communautés et surtout des standards internationaux, l'objectif 30 x 30 est à portée de main. Mais nous devons être lucides, le cadre mondial fixe 23 cibles pour 2030, allant au-delà des aires protégées, notamment la mise en place d'une planification spatiale pour limiter la conservation des écosystèmes naturels et gérer ainsi efficacement sur l'utilisation des terres et des mers. Le développement des programmes de restauration des écosystèmes dégradés et de reboisement. Pour atteindre ces cibles et en même temps parvenir à protéger les 3% terrestres restants et surtout les 24% ainsi que les 50 000 km² de notre zone économique exclusive, cela nécessite des ressources techniques et financières que notre pays seul ne peut pas mobiliser. Nous ne le cachons pas. C'est pourquoi nous appelons respectueusement nos partenaires internationaux, les États, les organisations multilatérales, les ONG et les fondations philanthropiques à se joindre à nous pour transformer cet objectif commun en réalité. Nous avons posé les bases juridiques, institutionnelles et communautaires. Nous avons déjà protégé plus du quart de notre territoire terrestre. Nous avons obtenu des labels internationaux et des plans de gestion reconnus. Nous sommes prêts à aller plus loin, plus vite et plus ambitieux, à condition que la coopération internationale soit à la hauteur de l'enjeu. Je vous remercie.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. We've heard some bold commitments from Comoro that by 2030, that is 1,600 days from today, they will be at 30%. Can't we give them a clap? Thank you, Honorable Minister. So to talk more about what other panelists have already started discussing, I would like to welcome Jochen Flasbert, State Secretary for Environment, Climate Action, Nature Conservation, and Nuclear Safety from the Government of Germany. Welcome for your remarks. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. Yeah, good afternoon. Thanks a lot for having me here. Thanks a lot to my co-panelists, and I'm happy to be here. I don't want to repeat everything that had been said about the relevance of our oceans. You definitely know it. If not, you must have been sleeping over the last 1.5 days. So I'm sure we are all on the same page. Our oceans are relevant, hugely relevant for mankind, and I'm happy that we are now at this plenary talking about the pathways to achieve 30 by 30, which is one instrument, one track to keep our oceans alive. Let me just briefly say what we are doing in Germany. With regard to BBNJ, we were really proud to be part of the process. We are happy about the speed that we had in the ratification process. Germany went through the whole process at our national side. It's gone through Parliament. It's German law now. and we are on our way to New York to ratify. On the 30 by 30, I want to mention that we have designated, we have put under protection 45% of our exclusive economic zone. So it's quite a bit, but as we want to be honest and frank with each other, the quality of protection is still weak. So our focus is not the quantity, our focus is the quality of our marine protected areas. And now, after having ratified, we need to be very fast. So being a bit late in a conference like here, it's a one story, it's digestible. Being late on protecting our oceans would lead to a disaster. So we need to be quick with joining forces, as has been said lastly by the minister from Comoros, in implementing what we have agreed upon. And I want to speak about this briefly. Number one is we want to partner with others. We have created the Living High Seas project. Through our German International Climate Initiative, we are providing 20 million euros for that, partnering with Senegal, Brazil, Chile, Ecuador, Indonesia, and Micronesia. Just as a kickoff, it's not a closed shop, but we want to be fast in identifying areas with those partners to implement the BBNJ. It's all about partnerships. It's not just doing it bilaterally. It's putting it into the focus also of multilateral initiatives like the Global Ocean Biodiversity Initiative, GOBI, and of course the IUCN. Secondly, I want to speak about the Blue Action Fund. It's a very efficient tool which was founded by our sister ministry a couple of years ago, the Ministry for Economic Cooperation and Development in Germany, and it provided already support for 50 million hectares of MPAs across the world. And just for Africa, as we are sitting here on the African continent, there were funds available of 105 million euros, including private money, because we also want to get the private sector in to allow the protection of MPAs in the African borders, seas. And I'm happy to announce here that our sister ministry, the Ministry for Economic Cooperation and Development, just decided to provide another 19 million for the Blue Action Fund. We are working together with Norway, France, Ireland, and Sweden to make this very, very efficient tool more relevant also for other partners. So finally, I want to say, and it is reflected here nicely at the podium, we will have no chance if we don't cooperate for our oceans. With my country first attitude, we will not make the oceans great again. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Jochen. And to close this segment of remarks, I would like to welcome now Rebecca Hubert, the Executive Director of the High Seas Alliance, to tell us more about the High Seas and BBNJ. Welcome.
Good afternoon, everybody. So, as has been covered thoroughly, the High Seas Treaty is a landmark agreement that really changes the face of ocean governance for the world. We have successfully, in the last 2.5 years, which was incredibly fast by international standards, achieved 90 state ratifications for this new international law. But the challenge is now to turn this promise into real action in the water. So how will we do that? There are 3 cornerstones which are key to this, and one underpinning foundation which have already been touched on. protection, equity, and good governance, underpinned by strong partnerships and alliances, which I think have been thoroughly aired. So in terms of protection, the High Seas Treaty now gives us the legal framework to create protected areas in international waters for the first time. It's now urgent for governments to work together to propose the first set of high seas marine protected areas. This is the only way we can achieve 30% protection of our ocean by 2030. We need the high seas. And governments are already acting in that way, both as Germany has, the Minister has pointed out for Germany, also countries, France, South Africa, the West African group, looking at protected areas. So we see this progress, but we really need to keep working fast. In terms of equity, the High Seas Treaty really has built into its infrastructure, into its architecture, ocean equity and justice. It means that we need sufficient funding and we need capacity for all states to be able to not just have a voice, but to lead and engage fully in protection and sustainable use of the high seas, and to ensure that the ocean's genetic wealth is fairly shared amongst all people. And this is a concept that the African group of states and small island developing states fought really hard for and won. And this includes for landlocked countries. In terms of good governance, Olivier already touched on the importance of the upcoming Conference of the Parties. This seems very procedural, but it's absolutely critical. We need strong decision-making and good processes to ensure that are transparent, science-based, inclusive, and ensure accountability. We cannot deliver on the ambition of the High Seas Treaty to equitably protect marine life without these criteria. And lastly, just to reinforce what has already been said, the importance of strong partnerships and alliances cannot be overstated with the high seas. Governments, civil society, Indigenous people, local communities, youth, scientists, lawyers, all of these different groups and stakeholders and decision makers need to work together for this treaty to be effective and to be implemented. And we bring different strengths. We need to continue to work cooperatively. It's been already the thing that has brought us this far to achieve this landmark treaty that changes the face of ocean governance globally. The biggest thing in decades is thanks to this fantastic collaboration and cooperation that has already occurred. So it's absolutely essential to keep this going if we're going to succeed in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Beck. And to conclude this segment of remarks, because of time, we're not going to go into deep questions so that we save on time. But I want all our panelists to answer just one question in 30 seconds. So you don't have to think hard about it. It's completing a sentence, just like you were taught in school. Complete the following sentence. I will start with you, Beck. As we close, okay, this for you as we close, I invite all of you, each one of you, to complete this sentence. By 2030, I hope that I can tell the world that we, By 2030,
Yep.
I hope we can tell the world that we,
That we have an active high seas treaty that has contributed to 30% protection and equitable distribution of our high seas wealth for all people.
Honorable Minister, by 2030, I hope we can tell the world that I hope the French translation is coming.
Merci beaucoup. D'ici 2030, oui. J'espère que nous pourrons dire au monde qu'on a enfin arrivé, on a atteint l'objectif 30x30 et on a protégé nos communautés et les milliers de familles qui vivent de l'océan. Merci.
Thank you. Honorable Marwa, by 2030, we can tell the world that we
Listened,
Yep.
heard the call, and acted in the best interest of the entire universe because we do not have any other option. Thank you.
You. Ambassador Olivier, by 2030, we can tell the world that we
have convinced the world to ban any deep sea mining, and US as well. Our good friends.
Thank you. And finally, Jochen, by 2030, we can tell the world that we
First, we managed the 30 by 30. Secondly, we have BBNG fully operational because the work will not end in 2030. And thirdly, the world has understood what the foreign minister from Malawi told me yesterday, that the oceans belong to the whole mankind and not only to the coastal countries.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. So I want to thank all our panelists. Because of time, we didn't have enough time to ask them questions, but I want us to put our hands together for our great panelists. Thank you very much. And you can take your seats now. We transition quickly to the next segment, which will be on commitments. And I want to call the following people up front for this next segment. We have Honorable Taivini Tay, Minister for Agriculture, Marine Resources, Environment, Research, Government of the French Government of French Polynesia. Please come forward. We have Excellency Salvador Malheiro, Secretary of State for Fisheries and Maritime Affairs, Government of Portugal. Honorable Emilia Arthur, Ministry of Fisheries and Aquaculture, Government of Ghana. We have Tanja Louis, Program Manager, Caribbean Biodiversity Fund. Dr. Lance Morgan, President, Marine Conservation Institute. And Dr. Ademola Ajagbe, Regional Director of the Nature Conservancy. So this segment is about making commitments, and we're just going to hear statements from our guests or speakers up front, and you may take your seats, and I'll be calling upon you one after the other to read your commitments. Thank you very much. So this is going to be our distinguished guests up front here reading their commitments, and I would like to go straight to our first speaker, Honorable Taivini Tay, Minister for Agriculture, Marine Resources, Environment of the Government of French Polynesia. Please come on stage. Thank you.
Thank you. Excellencies, Minister, dear colleagues, last year at our Ocean Conference, President Moïse Brotherson announced a historic commitment for French Polynesia. The designation of 1.1 million square kilometers of highly and fully protected marine areas within the 5 million square kilometers Tenui Atea marine protected area. Today, I'm pleased to report that we have delivered on that commitment. Thank you. This protection entered into force in September 2025 and marked one of the largest advances in marine conservation if ever undertaken by an island territory. But we didn't stop there. On 8th of June 2026, on World Ocean Day, the government of French Polynesia adopted a new package of measures for further strengthened ocean protection across our archipelagos. These measures immediately established more than 27,000 square kilometers of new regulated fishing areas, coastal protection zones, and seamount protection area in the Austral and the Marquesas archipelago. These areas were selected because of their exceptional ecological importance. They protect critical coastal habitats, migratory corridors, seamount ecosystems, and key biodiversity areas for protected and endemic marine species. They also respond to long-standing requests from local communities and traditional leaders who have called for stronger protection for many years. And in French Polynesia, conservation is strongest when it is built with communities, and local stakeholders will continue to play a central role in the governance and the management of this protected area. At the same time, the Council of Ministers referred to the Assembly of French Polynesia a reform that will create nearly 520,000 square kilometers of additional fully protected marine areas with entry into force expected in 2027. Thank you. Taken together, this decision will bring the total area under strict protection corresponding to UECN Category 1 and 2 to approximately 1.4 million square kilometers. Thank you. These protections are embedded within the 5 million square kilometers Tenuiatia Marine Protected Area, which is believed to be the largest marine protected area in the world. Outside strictly protected areas, sustainable fishing and sustainable tourism continue to support our communities and our economy. Beyond the number, we have thought to build ecological connectivity at an unprecedented scale. The fully protected marine reserve of the Austral Island, the Society Island, and the Gambier Marine Park are connected and formed together with the Pitcairn Marine Reserve, what is believed to be the largest continuous, strictly protected marine area in the world. This demonstrates an important lesson. Effective conservation is not only about protecting individual sites, it's about protecting entire ecosystems, migratory corridors, and ecological processes across vast ocean spaces. But today, our message is also a call to action. French Polynesia has fulfilled its commitment. We have protected our ocean. We are protecting our fish stock, our biodiversity, and the ecological corridors upon which the health of the Pacific depends. Now, the international community must do its part. We cannot protect fish stock and marine resources within our waters only to see them depleted as soon as they cross our maritime boundaries. We cannot ask island communities to bear the cost of conservation while others continue to benefit from unsustainable practices. The international framework for ocean governance must evolve. Biodiversity beyond national jurisdiction must be better protected. The polluter pays principle must be strengthened, and the contribution of countries and territories that invest large-scale ocean conservation must be properly recognized and supported. The people who have acted as guardians of the ocean for generations should be among the first beneficiaries of healthy and abundant marine ecosystems. Looking ahead, we believe the next chapter of ocean conservation must focus on connectivity and cooperation. The ocean is connected. Our efforts must be connected too. This is why we support the revival of a Pacific Blue Belt, connecting marine protected areas and helping secure ecological corridors across the Pacific and into the high sea. It is also why, through the Matavai Declaration adopted on 8th of June, with Pacific leaders, scientists, and ocean champions, we have called for stronger international action on high sea governance, marine pollution, invasive species, deep sea mining, and sustainable ocean financing. We have shown that ambitious ocean protection is possible. Now, the world must ensure that this effort is not in vain. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Honorable Taivini. I would like to now welcome Excellency Salvador to make his commitments as well. Welcome.
Jumbo, jumbo. I came from Portugal, but I will try to speak not in Portuguese, but in English. Excellencies, distinguished delegates and colleagues. As a maritime nation by geography and by heart, Portugal is committed to protect 30% of its marine area by 2030. Earlier this year, Portugal reached 90% marine protected area coverage, to which has contributed the amazing work carried out by autonomous region of Açores, responsible for classifying the largest marine park in North Atlantic. This is not an announcement. This is done. Thank you, my friends from Açores. Now, the government of Portugal is finalizing, in close cooperation with autonomous region of Madeira, the designation of King Carlos I Marine Natural Reserve. This area encompasses the Madeira Tor geological complex, whose seamounts and submarine banks have been studied for years and recognized as sources of extraordinary biodiversity. The King Carlos I Marine Natural Reserve spans the areas within the Madeira and mainland subregions of Portugal's economic exclusive zone, as well as a portion of international waters around the Josephine Seamount. Covering approximately 173,000 square kilometers, more than the double of the Portuguese mainland area, this reserve will enable Portugal to increase marine protection from 19% to 25%. The Portuguese commitment is to designate this area, but the ambition is to fully manage and monitor. We do not act merely to meet targets. What matters is achieving bidding transformative results that are genuinely felt by communities. We are keen to address the challenge of managing a marine protected area of this scale and pioneer at the global level, as there are not, to date, any established management model for protected areas located within an economic exclusive zone that at the same time spreads beyond the national border of the 200 nautical miles. Ladies and gentlemen, Portugal understands its responsibility to protect the ocean. Centuries ago, our nation set sail with the mission of bringing the sea to the people of the world and bridging continents together. Today, we know that the next chapters of our history must be written by the ink of protection and sustainability. This is the very legacy we wish to leave behind. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much, Excellency Salvador. I would now want to welcome on stage Tanja Louis, Program Manager, Caribbean Biodiversity Fund. Please welcome.
Asante and Jambo, Excellencies, distinguished delegates, global partners and fellow advocates of our blue planet. We Caribbean people are a people woven together by the water between us. For us, the ocean is the living archive of our cultural heritage. It is with this profound connection to the sea that I stand here before you today, representing the Caribbean Biodiversity Fund. In 2008, the Caribbean Challenge Initiative, or CCI, catalyzed our region ambition into tangible action. In 2012, under the leadership of Grenada and the British Virgin Islands, 12 Caribbean governments committed to protecting 20% of our marine assets by 2020. Crucially, we established the Caribbean Biodiversity Fund, the CBF, to deliver long-term financing. The CBF has already disbursed over $33 million towards transformational conservation, including assisting in unlocking 47,000 square kilometers of protected ocean. The Caribbean Challenge Initiative was our essential first step in valuing our immense blue assets. It was not without its challenges, but it taught us three vital lessons. The first is that nature does not see lines on a map. Achieving a healthy ocean requires a harmonized, one Caribbean approach. The second vital lesson is that political will must be met with financial reality. The insular Caribbean faces a staggering around $600 million annual funding gap for marine conservation. For too long, marine conservation has relied on fragmented and unpredictable short-term grants for leaving critical ecological sites under-resourced. To solve this, we are moving beyond asking for temporary lifelines. The solution wasn't only seeking more money, but changing how we absorb this. The third vital lesson is that capital flows goes only where capacity is being built locally by our own people in the Caribbean region. By creating our own capacities, we catalyze the resources to sustain it. Today, we proudly announce the development of the new Marine Protected Area Finance Facility, spearheaded by the Caribbean Biodiversity Fund and the Blue Nature Alliance, to drive sustainable, long-lasting investments directly into Caribbean marine protected areas. This MPA facility will aggregate resources to significantly lower transactional costs for Caribbean SIDS, transitioning our region away from short-term grants into scalable, blended finance models. by channeling funds directly through local trust funds, accredited regional and national institutions, and NGOs. It ensures local ownerships and transparency. Furthermore, the facility will provide for direct technical assistance needed to modernize marine protected areas governance and develop these sustainable finance mechanisms. To protect our ocean is to protect the very soul of the Caribbean. It is a fight for our region's future. On behalf of the Action in Blue signatories, the Caribbean Biodiversity Fund, and our strategic partnership ecosystem, we invite all of you to be a part of our Action in Blue journey. Thank you so much. Asante sana.
Asante sana. Just been informed that I missed one person. Julio Manuel, President Mar de Juan Fernandez. Is he around? If you're around, please come up front. Julio Manuel Camoro Solis. But I'll move straight to Dr. Lance Morgan, President, Marine Conservation Institute. Welcome.
Hello, everyone. Excellencies, delegates, and colleagues. Marine Conservation Institute is here today to commit to improving biodiversity protections globally and achieving, as John Kerry said, a real 30 by 30. The Blue Parks Initiative will promote, incentivize, and support gains in marine protected area effectiveness by leveraging the science-based Blue Park standard, elevating Blue Park Award winners, and supporting marine conservation efforts through our Blue Spark collaborations and our Blue Park Conservation Fund. We also run a sister initiative, the Marine Protection Atlas, which accurately reports MPA coverage, stage of establishment, and protection level, implementing the MPA guide framework. Marine Conservation Institute will also apply the Blue Park Standard, our scientific expertise, to support the establishment of the first generation of high seas MPAs under the BB&J Treaty, helping to ensure these new protections are designed and implemented effectively from the outset. I am pleased to congratulate, and especially the fact that Africa has been at the lead this year of our Blue Park Award winners, which were announced yesterday. In addition to Kasite Mumputi Marine Protected Area here in Kenya and Adalbra Atoll Special Reserve in the Seychelles, achieving enduring Blue Park status with a successful 5-year review, we announced 6 new Blue Parks, including 3 from Madagascar, Nosy-Hara National Park, Nosy-Tenihinkli National Park, Sahamalaza Ile National Park, and in Senegal, Kawawana Indigenous Community Heritage Area. These were joined by Banque des Americains Marine Protected Area in Quebec and the Rapa Nui Marine Protected Area in Chile. In the coming years, we will continue to look at efforts across our oceans to effectively implement strong biodiversity standards and achieve the Blue Park Standard. And to do this, we will continue to fund our programs at least $1 million a year and hoping to grow that fund with your support. So thank you very much, and I look forward to supporting more Blue Parks in the future.
Thank you. And last but not least, I would like to welcome up front Dr. Demola, Regional Managing Director of the Nature Conservancy.
Excellencies, distinguished delegates, friends, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. First of all, I'd like to say a big thank you to the government of Kenya for hosting the Oceans Conference here in Mombasa today. Having all of us around is truly remarkable. The moment before us today is both symbolic and strategic. It reflects Africa's growing leadership in ocean conservation and the urgency to move from global ambition to real delivery. With the ICES Treaty now providing a clear pathway forward, the question before us is no longer whether we can act, but how quickly we can move from agreement into implementation. We know that protection works. Well-designed, effective, managed marine protected area deliver measurable ecological and economic benefits, supporting fisheries, strengthening resilience, and creating long-term value for people and nature. The opportunity is now extended to proven solutions to the IC and at scale, and with governance, financing, monitoring, and compliance systems that are required to make protection real. Today, the Nature Conservancy is proud to commit to supporting the development and early implementation of the first generation ICES marine protected areas by 2030. Working in partnership with governments, regional bodies, and many of you here today, we will help advance up to 5 ICES marine protected areas proposals by 2030, an effort that will contribute to the protection of additional 200 million hectares of the ocean. Our role is to bring the full strength of TNC, the Nature Conservancy, to this effort through science and spatial planning, policy and technical support, innovative financing, and long-term partnership, and to ensure that these protections are not only established, but effectively implemented and sustained. In Africa, the commitment is already taking shape through regional collaboration, including in the Benguela Current and the adjacent IC ecosystem, areas that are critical for biodiversity, migratory species, and the health of the wider ocean. But success depends on more than any one organization or country. It requires coordinated action across governments, regional institutions, indigenous people and local communities, and civil society, as well as philanthropy and the private sector. The Nature Conservancy is ready to play its part with urgency, humility, and a deep commitment to partnership. We invite you all to join us to move from a treaty to implementation, from ambition to delivery, and from fragmented effort to true collective stewardship of our shared ocean. The opportunity in front of us is here. The decision we take now will define the future of the high seas and our global ocean for generations to come. Let's act together. Thank you.
And last of last, I'd say that was the last but not least, but finally, Julio Manuel is here, and please come forward and make your commitment as we aim to close this. Thank you.
Buenas tardes, soy Julio Chamorro del Archipiélago Juan Fernández.
Hi, good afternoon. I will be sort of translating for Julio. He's introducing himself. He's Julio Chamorro. He's the president of the Fishing Council of Juan Fernández.
Chile hoy tiene el 43% de su zona económica exclusiva bajo protección marina.
Up to date, Chile has around 44% of its economic exclusive zone under some sort of protection.
Y la comunidad de Juan Fernández somos solamente 1,000 habitantes.
The archipelago of Juan Fernández is just a bit more than 1,000 inhabitants.
Y ahora presentamos una nueva propuesta de expansión de los 2 parques marinos, que es Nazca Desventurada y Mar de Juan Fernández.
And today, he would like to share with you that the Juan Fernández community are going to expand the current protection.
Con una superficie total de 1,000,000 de kilómetros cuadrados.
They will be expanding for more than 360,000 square kilometers. to the figure of 1 million kilometers from Juan Fernández a Nazca desventuradas.
Eso significa que Chile sube del 43 al 54% de protección de su zona económica exclusiva.
With the decision taking place by the community and reaffirmed by the government, it means that the marine protected areas increased from 44% to beyond 54% of our economic exclusive zone.
Y eso significa que el planeta sobrepasa la barrera del 10% de área marina protegida.
And according to Julio, with those figures in mind, it means that the planet as a whole, including this expansion, will reach 10% of its oceans protected in some way.
Es decir que junto a la comunidad de Rapa Nui, hoy tenemos 2 millones de kilómetros cuadrados de área marina protegida.
Adding together the efforts made by Juan Fernández and the Rapa Nui community, it means that more than 2 million square kilometers are being protected in Chile in some way.
Eso, muchas gracias.
Thank you very much.
Muchas gracias. And now we've come to the end of this pathways to achieving 30 by 30 and protecting the high seas. Our panelists have talked a lot about important things, which I will quickly summarize in a few sentences. The importance of partnerships and alliances, governance and collaboration. Science was emphasized. Finance is an important component of us achieving 30 by 30. And more importantly, let's go for quality and not just quantity. And this panel has contributed immensely to increasing area under marine conservation. I was trying to calculate all these commitments that have been made here, and looked like just within the few minutes we've been here, we've added like 4 million square kilometers of marine area under conservation. Isn't that great? So that's good. So as we conclude, I would like to extend my sincere appreciation to all our distinguished panelists, some of who have left and some are still here, for sharing their leadership and insights and experiences. I also wish to thank the government, organizations, communities, scientists and practitioners seated here who've been listening to this session. The journey to 2030 will not be defined, of course, by commitments alone, as most of the panelists have already said, but by real actions that we must take. So now please join me in thanking all our panelists and all those working tirelessly to protect our ocean for the present and future generation. Thank you. Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you so much, and I want to return the stage to Nimrod Tabu if he's still around. Oh, you're here. Karibu.
A round of applause, please, ladies and gentlemen, for a wonderful moderator, Dr. Arthur Tudor, and of course, earlier on, Kate Walsh, who delivered the keynote address before we started this panel. I happen to be the guy who's standing between you and lunch, right? Yeah, so I have another 30 minutes, and then we go. No, I'm kidding. So we break for lunch, but very quickly. VIPs will have their lunch at the Palm Restaurant, and then the first 2 rows, the guests there will have their lunch. They have to proceed to Mara Plains, which will be on my right, if you go out of the hall on your right. And then the rest of the delegates will have their lunch at the gardens or the pond area. Am I clear? Right? Our second session starts at 2:30.